If you're a mid-level to C-suite leader who wants to own your growth and figure out your next small, brave move to achieve your leadership goals, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Small Brave Moves podcast, a weekly deep dive on how to be braver in leadership and in life for exceptional results. I'm your host, Nicole Bianchi, best-selling author, certified master executive coach, NSA certified speaking professional, chief bravery officer, and tough talk expert. If you're ready to become a better, braver, and more authentic leader, let's dive in. Hey friends, welcome back to the Small Brave Moves podcast. I'm Nicole Bianchi, and I wanted to start today with a question for you. So when you think about what's coming for leaders over the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years, the AI disruption, the generational work shifts, the pace of change that doesn't seem to be slowing down for anyone, what's the skill you think leaders need most to lead the future of work? More strategy, better processes, deeper technical knowledge? Well, those things matter, but they're not the answer. The research keeps pointing to something else entirely. The future of work doesn't just need smart leaders. It needs braver leaders. And today, I'm going to tell you why the future of work needs these brave leaders, and more importantly, what you can start doing about it right now. So let's start with what we know. The World Economic Forum estimates that 28% of jobs will change significantly in the next 5 years. McKinsey projects that up to 375 million workers globally may need to switch occupational categories entirely by 2030. And Global Workforce Study, 39,000 workers across 36 countries found that only 22% of employees felt confident that their jobs were safe. So that's not a niche concern. That's most of the workforce. And here's what's important to understand. The anxiety that people are carrying into work right now isn't about AI or automation. It's about uncertainty, about whether their leaders are going to be honest with them, about whether they'll feel supported through what's coming or just managed through it. Gallup tells us that about 70% of the difference in team engagement comes down to the manager, the leader. That's you. Not the company's benefits package, not the strategy deck, but the manager, the leader, which means the pressure is on for leaders like it has never been before. And most leaders just aren't ready, not because they're not capable, but because the skills we've traditionally rewarded in leadership, efficiency, decisiveness, staying composed, having the answers, those aren't the skills that will carry teams through this level of uncertainty. What will? Bravery. Now, when I say bravery, I want to be really specific because I'm not talking about recklessness or being the loudest person in the room. Bravery in leadership is the willingness to do the hard thing, the honest thing, the vulnerable thing, the clear thing, even when it's uncomfortable. It's the leader who tells their team the truth about what's changing instead of waiting until they have to. It's the leader who creates space for an honest conversation instead of projecting false confidence. It's the leader who invests in their people's development, not because it's just good for the business, because it's the right thing to do. And here's what the research tells us about what happens when we lead this way. This is important. Employees who feel that their employer, their company, their culture genuinely invested in their growth are 5 times more likely to feel secure in their jobs. And those who feel secure are 6 times more likely to be fully engaged. So we spend so much time looking for the leadership edge, and this is it. And building that kind of trust with your team, it requires bravery, consistent, practiced, deliberate bravery. So let's talk about what this actually looks like. I teach 3 frameworks to leaders and teams who want to build bravery as a real usable skill. Not a personality trait, not something you either have or you don't, but it's a skill you develop in motion over time. And the first is conquer yourself. So before you can lead teams through uncertainty, you have to get honest about what's going on inside of you. Most leaders I work with are carrying more doubt, fear, more uncertainty, more than they're willing to admit, even to themselves. And that internal noise is exactly what gets in the way of showing up clearly for their teams. Brave leadership starts with self-leadership. It starts with the willingness to ask, what am I afraid of right now? What am I avoiding? What am I leading from ego instead of from conviction? And that kind of honesty for yourself is the foundation, and everything else can build upon it. The second is small, brave moves. So one of the most paralyzing myths in leadership is that bravery is supposed to feel dramatic. Like you'll know it when it's time to be brave. It'll be this big, obvious, iconic moment. But real bravery in leadership is almost always small. It's the email you send before you're ready. It's the acknowledgement you make in a team meeting. And things are harder than you expected. It's the decision you make before you have all the perfect information. You build momentum intentionally, and they build trust with your team and yourself. And over time, they compound into the kind of leadership and culture where people feel safe enough to be honest, take risks, and just do their best work. And the future of work needs leaders who have trained that muscle, that bravery muscle, starting now. The third is tough talks. The number one place where leadership courage breaks down is in conversations. And the conversations leaders avoid, delay, soften beyond recognition, or never have at all, whether it's performance, direction, about what's really going on and what's changing and why. Well, Deloitte found that 70% of employees say that their managers' communication directly impacts their mental health. 70%. So the conversations you lead or the ones you avoid are much more impactful than you think, even the ones you need to prepare for. That's the work. Brave leaders have conversations that their teams need, and they address the hard stuff early before it compounds. They create space for honesty instead of silence. They say what needs to be said with care and clarity. And that's not a communication style. It's a leadership discipline. And like any discipline, it's built through practice. So here's what I keep coming back to. We know what's required. The research is clear. The case for brave leadership has never been stronger. And yet over 80% of the global workforce is disengaged. Leaders are avoiding difficult conversations. Teams are carrying uncertainty alone because nobody at the top is willing to name it out loud. The cost just isn't morale. It's performance, it's retention, and it's the gap between where your organization is and where it needs to be. So the future of work belongs to organizations with brave leaders, not the ones with the best technology or the most sophisticated strategy, the ones where leaders have done the internal work to show up honestly, where teams feel safe enough to speak up, and where the conversations that need to happen actually happen. So the future is built now in the small, brave moves you make this week, the tough talks that you have this month, and the way you conquer yourself this year. So here's your small, brave move for this week. Pick one thing, just one thing you've been putting off as a leader. Maybe it's a conversation, a decision, or an honest acknowledgement you haven't made yet, and make one step toward it. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. Because the leaders who will carry the teams through what's coming aren't the ones who have all the answers. They're the ones who are brave enough to lead anyway. And if you're ready to future-proof your leadership team, whether that's through a keynote, a retreat, or a deeper engagement, I'd love to talk to you about how we could work together. All the details are in the show notes. Let's brave the future of work together. And if today's episode resonated with you, share it with a leader in your world who needs to hear this message. And if you're thinking about brave leadership development, what that could look like in your organization or your next event, I'd love to have a conversation with you about it and just explore. All the details are in the show notes. Until next time, keep showing up, keep leading brave conversations, making those small, brave moves, and conquering yourself. I am so cheering you on. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Small Brave Moves podcast. If you're wanting to take this work even deeper, I'm here to help. from engaging and inspirational keynote speeches to transformational coaching and workshops for leaders and teams, page-turning books, online courses, and enlightening leadership development retreats. There are so many ways that we can work together to take your leadership to the next level. For more information, check out the show notes, and let's do this together, one small brave move at a time. See you next week.